In the beginning, the earth was a formless wasteland, and darkness covered the abyss. While a mighty wind swept over the waters. Then God said, "Let there be light." And there was light. God saw how good the light was. Then the Lord God planted a garden in Eden, in the east, and he placed there the man whom he had formed. Out of the ground the Lord God made various trees grow that were delightful to look at and good for food, with the tree of life in the middle of the garden, and the tree of knowledge of good and evil.
The doctors and therapists don't have a clue. They try to figure it out, but they're not even close to understanding. Only you know when it happens to you. It's like being in a movie. Do you know what I mean? Do you understand?
Yeah.
A nuclear explosion is the instantaneous release of a tremendous amount of nuclear energy. A nuclear weapon is the instrument which brings about the release of this energy. Nuclear energy comes from two processes that alter the nuclei of atoms. One is fission, and the other is fusion. First, let us consider the principles of nuclear fission. When the nucleus of an atom of a fissionable element, such as uranium-235 or plutonium-239, is struck by a neutron, the atom splits, or fissions, into two or more parts.
Then the Lord God planted a garden in Eden, in the east, and he planted there the man whom he had formed. Out of the ground the Lord God made various trees grow that were delightful to look at and good for food, with the tree of life in the middle of the garden, and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil.
2 or 3 neutrons have been released and may strike the nuclei of other fissionable atoms, and thus continue the fissioning process. Essentially, it is a continuation of this action that makes a fission reaction possible. Because stray neutrons are always present, there are limits to the amount of fissionable material that can be assembled without producing a premature reaction. If the amount or shape of the active material is such as to permit the neutrons given off by spontaneous fission to escape after only a few fissions, the nuclear reaction is not self-sustaining, and the condition of the mass is said to be subcritical. If the configuration and amount of active material is such that one neutron from each fission does not escape and goes on to fission a new atom, a continuous self-sustaining reaction known as a chain reaction is created, and the mass is said to be critical.
If you were here right now, I could tell you of the strangest dream I had. There was a woman, and it seemed she forgot she was married. She went to the store and bought 2 apples. One was red, and the other was
war broke out in heaven. Michael and his angels battled against the dragon. The dragon and its angels fought back, but they did not prevail, and there was no longer any place for them in heaven. The huge dragon, the ancient serpent, who was called the devil and Satan, who deceived the whole world, was thrown down to earth, and its angels were thrown down with it. When the dragon saw that it had been thrown down to the earth, it pursued the woman who had given birth to the male child. But the woman was given the 2 wings of the great eagle, so that she could fly to her place in the desert, where far from the serpent she was taken care of for a year, 2 years, and a half year.